Applied Kinesiology, Dr. Gary Dombey, Session 7 continues. And we are going to talk about the pineal gland next. Now, the pineal gland is a tiny cone-shaped gland that sits very deep in the brain. It is a neuroendocrine transducer, like the adrenal medulla is, and it's stimulated by sunlight. So it's considered a body clock regulator of circadian rhythm. It's sensitive and is stimulated to produce melatonin during the daylight hours. It's affected by light hitting receptors in the skin as well as the retina of the eye. Melatonin is produced, stored, and then released at night. The pineal has long been the subject of mystical thinking. It's considered the third eye. It's also been termed the seat of the soul. It has a very powerful effect of balancing cortisol. It has an inverse relationship with cortisol. As cortisol levels go up during the day, the pineal gland or melatonin is at a low output. So low melatonin, high cortisol, low melatonin. There's another picture of it here. You can see its relationship to the pituitary gland. So it's stimulated by sympathetic nerves, and then it secretes its hormone directly into the bloodstream. So it doesn't have any neurological projections into the rest of the brain. It's all by hormone secretion. So this is a little schema: pineal, hypothalamus, pituitary. It's definitely part of the HP axis. This chart or this illustration is a great quick reference to know what nutrients you want to evaluate when you suspect you have a pineal imbalance. Up at the top middle there it says dietary TRP, that's dietary tryptophan. Tryptophan is first converted into serotonin, and serotonin is synthesized into melatonin. And melatonin is stored and then released during the night. So these nutrients you can see in the little bluish arrows there are nutrients you want to think about testing with pineal imbalances. So, just to recap, light hits receptors in the skin and retina, and through the sympathetic nervous system stimulates the pineal gland. Dr. Goodhart observed a patient once whose leg turn-in would change when the lights were turned off. He kept retesting this and found that the sartorius, the right sartorius, was weak with the lights out, and it was strong again with the lights on. So that's what led him to investigate what was involved with this. So the pineal, being our body clock, sensitive to light and dark, its hormone levels go through a cyclic up and down over a 24-hour period. This is a chart showing how cortisol has its highest presence in the bloodstream at about 6 a.m. and its lowest at 12 a.m. And this is a chart that shows the relationship between cortisol and melatonin. cortisol high, melatonin low, and vice versa throughout the 24-hour period. And this also kind of talks about this period here at the lowest ebb of the melatonin output, or the highest ebb of the melatonin output, is where we really do our healing, where we physically heal. And then it's believed that most of our psychological rebalancing occurs then in the latter part of the night. This is a book that is recommended to read that goes into really good detail about the physiology of sleep and diet, of course. So the protocol is as follows. We check an endocrine-related muscle, teres minor, sartorius, gracilis, glute med, max, and then either darken the room or put a dark cloth or a dark blanket over the patient's head and eyes and check the muscle for weakening. This is a way to screen for pineal problems. And of course, you've already had a history too of one of the key things we want to ask our patients when we take a history is, how do they sleep? How do they digest? How do they sleep? So on and so forth. How's their energy level? So we then challenge the greater wings of the sphenoid together, and we recheck that same endocrine muscle for weakening. If we get a positive weakening, then we proceed to this cranial manipulation. And step one is to spread the rami of the mandible. And your thumbs would be in the mouth, pressing out on the rami. And then I would recheck to see if the sartorius weakens, or whichever muscle you're using weakens to the compression of the greater wings. And if it still does, then go back in and spread the pterygoid processes very gently. Now with the rami, you can use 4 to 5 pounds of pressure. With the pterygoid processes, I would use a great deal less. There's no respiratory component to this particular correction. It's been established. So nutritionally, this is what we want to look at. Once again, B3, B6, folic acid, iron, pantothenic acid, zinc, methyl donors, tryptophan can be supplemented. L-tryptophan can be found and supplemented. Protifood is a product in standard processes lineup. And of course, a diet rich in tryptophan, healthy proteins. And make sure patients are getting enough sleep. Make sure they're going to bed and staying in bed long enough to get enough sleep. Make sure that they have darkness in their room. Reduce sugars and carbohydrates, especially late in the day. And I would add to this to avoid all screen time past, say, if at all possible, past sundown. That would be ideal. But try to keep your screen light exposure to a minimum, especially late in the day. And then beyond that, fix the TMJ. If the TMJ is dysfunctional, it's going to interfere with proper sphenoid function, proper sphenoid rocking, which aids in all of the pineal and the pituitary being able to secrete properly. Correct dural torque, correct gait, which causes dural torque, or it can be caused by dural torque. Correct cranial faults, and supplement the patient with tryptophan, either dietarily or with something like Protifood. And then, of course, check for the other nutrients that might be deficient. So that is all. We'll go over the pineal test in the workshop. Next, we're going to be going into a discussion of blood pressure, and we're going to stop this clip for now.